Meghan Markle? Meet the truth. Truth? Meet Meghan Markle. I don't think you know each other. In fact, I fear that you're complete strangers. Yep, the devious Duchess is at it again, playing the victim card, lashing out at all those horrible lies that all those nasty people tell about her. By that, she means anything that anyone says about her that she doesn't like. Is Her Montecito Majesty really maintaining that the Hollywood Reporter's investigation into her alleged brutal bullying of staff was all lies? Does the self-styled Queen of California actually expect us to accept that Vanity Fair's exhaustive 8,000-word article chronicling the appalling way she reportedly treated her long-suffering employees was all lies? Yes, incredibly, it seems that she does. On the latest of Manic Meg's dizzying number of podcast appearances, British-born brand boss Emma Grede inquired, if you could rewrite your public narrative from scratch, is there anything that you would do differently? Pushing the boundaries of plausibility to an epic extent, her ladyship replied, yes, I would ask people to tell the truth. It appears she's referring to the tales of bullying at the palace during her brief tenure as a working royal in the UK. Her awful antics were reported in an email to the late Queen, who ordered a full, external, independent legal probe, the results of which have never been published, but may well be if Meghan doesn't let it drop. Why can't she, for God's sake? What's wrong with her? The implication is clear. All the bad publicity the notoriously difficult Duchess gets, that ongoing avalanche of negative press, it's purely because the haters make up vile and hurtful fibs about her. Yeah, right. Talking of podcasts, Ms. Markle also told Emma that she's resting Confessions of a Female Founder. Resting? Resting as in rest in peace, after rock-bottom viewing figures and hurtling out of the top 100 charts faster than a bat out of hell, I'd hazard an educated guess that Meghan's toweringly tedious interviews with entrepreneur women have been consigned to the scrap heap of showbiz history. Not temporarily, forever. Just like her first podcast disaster, Archetypes, a profoundly boring 12-part insomnia cure that declared all-out war on entertainment. Meanwhile, as ever, no one knows what on earth is going on with her laughable lifestyle site as ever. Is her Scam Jam online store in business? Is it on hold? Or is it dead in the water? 1 minute she says it won't be back until next year, then she announces she's got a new range of Chateau Meg rosé wine coming out. Then stand by for a chain of Meg Inn hotels, not forgetting her Meg Tuck-In restaurants. Then silence, no activity, followed by a teasing Instagram post promising exciting new developments soon. Yeah, right. Now this weird woman of little substance crops up on yet another podcast, making next to no sense whatsoever. Honestly, I give up. But back to the truth, something Meghan presumes she can manipulate to her own ends. Her truth, as opposed to the truth. So, after those devastating takedowns in The Hollywood Reporter and Vanity Fair, what does this C-list actress do? She fires her publicity team. 6 battle-weary minions who, in Meghan's mind, failed to convince the world of the wonderfulness of their stunningly perfect boss, as if all that horrible stuff those pesky reporters wrote about her was purely the fault of her public relations department. Yeah, right. That hapless husband of hers, old Ginger Nuts, what's his name? Oh, that's right, Harry, is also said to be far from happy with the poor press he's been getting too. As if, when he sits there on the BBC like a petulant child, spitting venom and spewing ludicrous conspiracy theories, journalists are going to go, isn't Harry great? Let's be very positive about him. Both of this preposterous pair of posers her still on her imagined social mountaineering climb, him falling frighteningly far from the position of respect he once commanded, have behaved abysmally since their snivelling retreat from British royal duties. Their car crash lies to opera, their Netflix show all about the racist king, his racist family and the slave-driving British nation, Harry's spiteful book Spare, the pompous prince's stupid legal battle to get police gun guards when he's in the UK, hypocritically flying by private jet while preaching about climate change, and so much more. All that and the self-harming gruesome twosome actually believe that the growing crisis of their toxic image and plummeting popularity can be solved by an office shake-up. Yeah, right.
Harry and Meghan have kept us really busy, but one place where I was surprised to find them absent was throughout the Jeff Bezos, Lauren Sanchez wedding mix. Now, there are a series of lavish celebrations that are set to unfold this week in honor of their upcoming nuptials. According to a source in Italy, Bezos and Sanchez are officially set to say I do on June 27th. Now, it's a 3-day affair with a star-studded guest list that reportedly includes Oprah, Leonardo DiCaprio, Kim Kardashian, Bill Gates, Barbara Streisand, and Ivanka Trump. Unlike Harry and Meghan, Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez actually know these people. Harry and Meghan had some similar guests at their wedding, but George Clooney was like, I don't know, I've never met him. Kev, do you think that it kills Meghan to be excluded from the wedding of the year? I mean, a wedding that without a doubt, I'm sorry, will be bigger than hers.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the wedding to be at this year. As you say, it will be the wedding of the year. No expense will be spared. It is, after all, if not the richest man in the world. I think he's the second richest man in the world. Soon to become the richest, the way old Elon Musk's going about his business at the moment. But so this is a very, very wealthy man. 3 days in Venice. No expense spared. Be there or be square. The guest list is going to be the guest list, the definition of the A-list. And would Meghan like to be there? She would kill to be there. But I don't think her or Harry came anywhere near making this guest list. They weren't sort of considered and then, well, perhaps we can't quite fit them in. These people are not in this league anymore. Harry and Meghan.
Wait, I'm glad you said they're not in this league anymore, because one of the questions I had for you was, I think 5 years ago they would have been invited to this wedding.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree. That was during their novelty phase, particularly when Hollywood just wanted to embrace them. Hey, it's Harry, it's Meghan, amazing, amazing. The prince is here, you know, and that was the job that the gruesome twosome had. It was to build on that, to establish themselves. Yes, people greeted them warmly, but how were they going to be accepted by Hollywood, by America going forward? They've done nothing to ingratiate themselves to anyone at all. And as I say, they didn't come close to making the Bezos wedding guest list. They didn't come anywhere near close. They are off the A list. They're off the B list. I don't even think they make the C list anymore. So poor old Meghan, in terms of this lavish wedding in Venice, would love to be there myself, by the way. I didn't make the guest list either. But Meghan will be dying a bit inside over this, no doubt about it.
Okay, so I have a challenging question for you, I think, because there is a lot of negativity surrounding Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez. And when I try to figure out what it could be about, it's my personal opinion that it stems from the way that they got together. You know, they apparently, allegedly, well, no, they were married. They were married to other people when they started seeing each other. Now, a tabloid gets a hold of some text messages of Lauren Sanchez's between her and Jeff Bezos, and apparently some salacious photos. And the tabloid, according to Jeff Bezos, tries to blackmail him into, you know, what is it called? Catch and kill. They tried to blackmail him into making these images and text messages go away. Like within hours of the tabloid announcing that these two are in a relationship, they file for divorce. And here we are several years later. They are America's power couple. Now, I want to say that the reason that Harry and Meghan don't fit into this clique is because they are such I don't know, when it comes to the tabloids, Harry and Meghan are splashed across every page. There's something messy. There's something so messy about them. But at the same time, when you think about the way Jeff Bezos and Lauren Sanchez started, the messiness is something that they actually have in common. Am I totally off there?
No, I don't think so.
Why
But
have they been excluded from this clique?
well, I think when you say excluded from this clique, I think that, as I say, I don't even think they were among the maybes, if you see what I mean. These two are just nowhere to be seen anymore. They are not in the A League. Now, Bezos and Lauren Sanchez, you know, very rich men, or for that matter women, are very rarely universally popular. Everybody hates a rich guy. Now, what I think that the Bezoses suffer from is there's this narrative. It might be unfair, I don't know, but Lauren Sanchez, kind of good-looking woman, possibly slightly surgically improved, I don't know. But she sees Jeff Bezos and she thinks, I could get my hands on the richest man in the world, and you know what, I will. So people don't like that kind of story. A woman who goes for a rich
So again,
guy.
Similar to Harry and Meghan, right? Again, similar to Harry and Meghan.
Kind of. But I think the other thing is about very rich people like Jeff Bezos. Despite the fact that the general public might not like him much, the celebrity A-list always gravitates towards the very rich people, because the very rich people will send their private jets to pick them up, will fly them to Venice, stick them in the most expensive hotel, give them the most lavish time, and they'll pay for it all. That's what A-list Hollywood celebrities love, hence the guest list. But as we keep saying, I'm afraid that kind of event is a million miles above Harry and Meghan's pay grade.
This year, I didn't realize this until yesterday, but it marks a major milestone, the 200th anniversary of the royal procession. And to commemorate the occasion, King Charles III and Queen Camilla, they introduced a first ever addition to the racecourse, the Queen's Reading Room installation. What a great idea. In a statement from the King and Queen, it said this year, the Queen's Reading Room will be present at Royal Ascot for the first time, and we do hope that the installation will be of interest to those who visit, and that the delight of reading might even serve to enhance the pleasures of riding. Hugo, this is a great collaboration, because not only does Queen Camilla love horses, she is also so great when it comes to introducing us to new literature and authors.
And she had a couple of authors in the carriage procession, William Boyd and Robert Harris. You know, that's kind of an interesting development. And so, yeah, I think it's a good idea to sort of try and mix sport and literature. I think, you know, you never know who you're going to draw in from each side. I think that's fascinating. And I'm sure it was a great success. I wasn't there yesterday, so I didn't see it, but I'm all for it.
Now, we didn't get around to talking about this last week. I sort of let it go, but I think it is very significant and very interesting, given that we've had absolute radio silence from the gruesome twosome about it. What we're talking about is the godfather to their children, Tyler Perry. Tyler
Lilibet,
Perry.
Just Lilibet.
Yeah, to Lilibet. He's the godfather to Lilibet. Tyler Perry, sort of a billionaire producer, TV producer, film producer, music producer, who actually provided Harry and Meghan with somewhere to live when they first came to LA from Canada. Anyway, last week, he was sued by an actor for sexual harassment. Obviously, no one is saying for a second that this is necessarily true or not true, but it did happen. And this is a major event in America when you get a lawsuit like this. Tyler Perry, Lilibet's godfather, stands accused of sexual harassment, and it's a very, very big lawsuit. $18 million, I do believe. He's being pursued for $260 million for compensation over allegations that his lawyer insists are a shakedown. But quite a big event. And this happened last week. No word whatsoever from Harry and Meghan on the godfather of their daughter, Lilibet. Bit strange.
Well, look, I've worked with Tyler Perry. He struck me as kind. I hope these accusations aren't true, not just for the sake of my own memories of Perry, but for Harry and Meghan's daughter, Lily, his goddaughter. Obviously, I was unhappy with the way he went after the British royal family in Harry and Meghan's Netflix series. That really upset me. Tyler Perry was one of the few A-listers who loudly defended Harry and Meghan after the Oprah interview. He gave them a home, a private jet, an exit strategy. And now, amid serious allegations, Harry and Meghan have gone silent. Harry once told Anderson Cooper, silence is betrayal. So why the double standard in this scenario? This friendship has been incredibly beneficial for one party, and that's Harry and Meghan. Look, in Hollywood, support can shape public opinion. We've seen it with O.J. Simpson, Martha Stewart, Hugh Grant. Strategically placed loyalty can mean survival. If Harry and Meghan backed Perry, it could encourage others to do the same. But instead, their silence feels like pure self-preservation. Meghan has time to post 4-year-old twerking videos and promote rosé or jam, but no time to acknowledge a man who gave her so much. The more she speaks, the louder the accusations of narcissism get. She doesn't talk about charity plugs or concern about what's happening in the world right now, just brand promotion and affiliate links. Perry says he's innocent. Maybe he is, but Harry and Meghan haven't even leaked support to the press. Yeah. A favorite Sussex pastime. I just want to say it's not the first time Harry's distanced himself from controversy. It's worth noting that he took a similar approach when it came to Prince Andrew. When Harry was duped into a phone call by 2 Russian YouTubers posing as climate activist Greta Thunberg, he distanced himself from Andrew and the Jeffrey Epstein scandal by saying, I have very little to say on that, but whatever he has done or hasn't done is completely separate from me and my wife. I would argue, unfortunately for Harry and Meghan, that's not their reality. To the public, you are who you associate with, and that association has financially benefited this couple far more than it has harmed them. Their proximity to the British royal family has been their lifeline, but if Tyler Perry is found guilty of these allegations, the Sussexes might finally feel the sting. Prince Andrew is Harry's blood relative. Tyler Perry was chosen family. That distinction could spark even more scrutiny over Harry and Meghan's judgment or lack thereof.
That's a really good point.
You took one for the team and you watched Meghan's latest podcast interview. You are a body language expert. And, I have to applaud you and apologize at the same time for this latest Meghan Markle podcast episode, or appearance, I should say. Can I ask you right off the top, it's Emma Grand, I think is how you pronounce her name, versus so. Jamie Kern-Lima. I felt a sense, and maybe Meghan is catering to the different audiences she feels like these women have, but I felt like I was watching 2 different women between those 2 different interviews. Meghan's a little more confident in the Emma podcast, in this latest podcast, a little more defiant. And in the Jamie Kern-Lima, she's soft. She really wants you to like her. Oh, I'm just so sweet. But there's more of her trying to be a girl boss in the latest episode. Am I reaching there?
You're exactly right. In the first one with Jamie Kern-Lima.
Jamie Kern-Lima.
In that situation, she's trying to kiss her hind end, in other words, because she's the one that I believe, from what it looks like to me, she's probably helping her with this, and she's maybe funding some of it, of her was as ever
Ever, yeah.
stuff. So, and I think she's sort of being her mentor, and so she's loaded and lives down the street from her. So she's trying to keep that bond really happening. Whereas she goes to this other interview, and she's supposed to be showing how, well, I'm an entrepreneur too, and I've done all these things. I'm in charge. I know how to do all this. So you're seeing somebody over there that's supposed to be acting like she's friends with Jamie Kern Lima. So you see that the whole, oh, we're just relaxed and being authentic. And with this one, it's supposed to be business. So that's the way she's acting. So you're seeing two different personalities, but she's chameleoning herself to be palatable toward Jamie Kern Lima, and the same thing for Emma. So it's fascinating to watch because you're actually seeing what would look like two different personality types, but it's the one person. But since we understand that personality type, we'll know that she'll try to mold herself to be like Jamie Kern Lima. That's why she would talk like her and try to look like her and say the same thing she was saying. And this other one, she's doing the same thing, but taking on a different posture and a different delivery. Like you were saying earlier, her voice tone is stronger. There are some of those hmms in there, but not quite as many. There's no hind end kissing really on the other one, like there was in the first one.
That's so something you just said, her positioning herself as an expert in the second podcast, in the one that recently came out. She makes some comment about when she's specifically talking about the podcast, because she says it's going on hiatus. And I'd love your opinion on whether you feel, based on what she said, if it's really going on hiatus, or if this is just her trying to downplay not continuing to pursue this podcast. But she says she's taking a step back from the podcast, or putting it on pause because of recommendations, because of suggestions from some of the women she spoke to throughout the process of the podcast, and how she needs to focus on one thing. But she also says, like, advice from other people, advice from myself, like, to ensure us that she is also an expert who gives herself really good advice. I cringe in those moments. Were there any takeaways for you when it came to her discussing the pausing of the podcast? And have you noticed that a lot of, sometimes even our criticism of her, it feels like she tries to explain those things away in these interviews. She finds moments to try to discredit some of these reports.
Well, that's probably the reason she did the interview. If you look at it from that way, because the most important thing, let's assume she's a narcissist, a clinical narcissist. That's what they tried. The worst thing that can happen to a narcissist is you can damage its ego. So once that ego is damaged, they'll do everything to make that work without. And in this case, she can't be mad or angry toward these people. She can't do anything bad to them. Whereas people in her personal life, in her little circle, she would do bad things too, talk bad about them, treat them badly, those kind of things. But in this situation, I think she's sort of, there's a problem. She's trying to make it look like there's not a problem. So she's saying, this is something I've decided to do so it doesn't hurt her ego. So they're really fragile, because at the root of a narcissist, they can't stand themselves. They don't like themselves at all, and they want everybody to like them. Mm-hmm. So that's the rub you're seeing there. That's why you're seeing the two different things. So she'll mold herself to fit in with Jamie Kern Lima, and then she'll mold herself to fit in with Emma. So it's two different. They look like two different personalities on the top, but down at the bottom, it's the same personality type. The high-end clinical narcissist.
Oh, I mean, it's just so uncomfortable to watch. For you, these highs and lows, or this chameleon type of thing, do you think that you are saying it quickly and because this is what you do for a living, or is it so blatant? Because I often wonder this: are her actions so blatant that a normal person would recognize this, or are there people that are going to fall for it and be like, wow, she just gets along with everybody, she's just like everyone?
Well, that's a great question, because the reason that, especially women, and there's a reason for this, and so hear me out, I'm getting to it. don't like her or feel weird when they watch her. They go, I don't know what it is about her I don't like, but I just don't like her. The brain takes in all kinds of information, takes in everything that your eyes see. Your brain takes in that information and it sorts it out and decides what you're seeing. Now, there's a difference in a woman's brain and a man's brain. Men take in information really quickly, these little chunks of it, and we think we know everything. That's why we think we know everything, because we have what's called a gut feeling. We get a gut feeling from all these things, all this information we take in. However, that happens very quickly. With women, what happens is this. Their brain is set up differently, so it takes in the information in these big groups. There's this thing called the fusiform gyrus. It's about a 1/4 inch in, right in here. And then that takes in all the little movements and things that you see, or that happen with somebody's body language or in a situation. Then you have the mid-temporal gyrus just below that, and that takes in all the big movements and all the big things that happen in a person's body language or in a situation. Now, once those things start grabbing that information, it throws it back to this thing called the locus ceruleus in the back of your brain, at the brainstem. It's about as big as a BB. And it starts sorting through all that information and going, have I seen this before? Will this hurt me? What does this look like? Is this something I've heard before or somebody else say that was bad for me? Those kind of things to check the threat of what's happening, and other things as well. But that's, in a nutshell, what's going on. And for men, it happens very quickly. And that little bit of information we get, it goes back to them and say, oh, here's what this is. But with women, they get the details. And that's why it takes them longer to decide what happened, because you'll hear women say, I don't know why I don't like that guy.
Yeah.
You know, something's not right about that guy. And I just don't know. Because you'll ask, well, why don't you like him? I don't know. I don't know. But you wait a day or two and they'll be in the shower or they'll be driving and it'll hit them why they don't like that person. It'll be something that's real. It won't be just something, oh, just because I don't. They'll see what it is. You all, women, see what it is. Whereas we don't see that right off. It takes a while for us to learn that.
That's interesting. Yeah. You'll just be in the grocery store and you're like, I know exactly what it is. He reminds me of so-and-so from 1996 that I met in a Walmart parking lot, whatever. All right. So Meghan says in this podcast that she struggled to get work because she was a mixed race actor. I mean, she met Prince Harry because she did inevitably find some success as an actress. What did you feel when she said that? It frustrates me when she says this stuff, mostly because I think, look at the blessed position you're in today. Why not focus on how lucky you are today to be where you're at, versus dwelling in the past and also dwelling on something that might have been your own insecurity and not necessarily the truth. There might be and you've got an entertainment background too. There's no casting director that's ever come forward and said, I didn't hire her because she was mixed race. I mean, it could have sincerely just been, she wasn't good enough, or she wasn't the right girl for the role. Sometimes it's just, you were made for a role and you get it. Like, I think she was for Suits.
Yeah. And and the reason she goes back and visits those things, especially the good parts of them, I was a great actress, I did this and I did that. It's because, again, it dealing with the ego. We all deal with our own egos, and the story you tell yourself is the best version of you, period. But in her situation, she keeps going back to the same ones over and over and brings those up and can find a place to spot those, sit those in almost any situation when that conversation starts. Here's my story, bang. Here's this that goes with it, bang. So it's almost like a protocol she follows, which is normal for a narcissist.
Yeah, they're in trouble, aren't they, Samara?
Big time. And actually, it was this podcast that revealed that to me more than probably anything else Meghan's done. It was so interesting to see her interviewed by this East Londoner British woman. And if you're not from East London, it's like a rough and tough area. This woman, Emma Greed, who interviewed her, is really
Greed is good.
Well, she's actually brought herself up from abject poverty, and she used to
be on Dragon's Den here. She can talk.
Yeah, she can talk, and she's made a life.
She's a businesswoman. She's a success.
She's made billions for herself, and it was such a juxtaposition. And it was so funny because she doesn't have that same reverence for the royal family that all the American Gwyneth Paltrows and Jamie Lee Curran does. She actually grilled Meghan on her business acumen, and she was just fumbling and tumbling that whole time. It was a train wreck, that interview.
It really was. Before we're going to play a little clip now, and then we'll go to Ash for his debut comments. But before we do, I'll do my Jamie Lee Curran impression.
Please. Please no.
That's all she did on that podcast.
Yeah.
Sort of like increasingly nodded her head. Oh, yes, Meghan, you're so wonderful. Anyway, here is Meghan talking to Ms. Greed about how she started her business.
I had just been making a lot of jams and preserves at home and sharing them as holiday gifts with a lot of friends. And it was one morning, beginning of the new year, so many friends at the same time had texted saying, I don't know what it is, but your jams just make me so happy.
No.
I don't know what to say. Well, Ash, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man.
Your thoughts on that asinine, bovine nonsense?
Well, jam
how does jam make you happy?
I don't know, maybe, she's in LA, maybe they put something in it, you know what I mean? But I admire her for saying, she doesn't say jam
apparently
tomorrow.
not very much fruit.
No, apparently it's just fruit spread, yeah.
That's why it's scam jam, it's not real jam.
But, you got to admire, she's jam today, not jam tomorrow. But, that's all she... But what is next for her? She keeps getting lower and lower in this celebrity... I mean, I'd never heard of this podcaster, even though she's very... Where's she going next? And is the marriage going to... It seems like it's all coming to the end. I mean, Prince Harry is just going around people's houses, buzzing, going, will you be my friend? I mean, I think that's what... It wasn't drugs or anything.
Well, they say he was practising to be a Deliveroo driver, because that'll be his next
job.
He'd be
good at that, yeah.
But she also revealed that she plied the Netflix executive with that jam time after time until apparently the Netflix executive said to her, oh, Meghan, you should turn this into a business idea. It's like sort of get off my front doorstep, thank you.
I mean, have you ever heard worse claptrap than that? Jam make me happy. What on earth is she talking about? Meghan, you're 42, not 92. Only grannies get made happy by jam. That's probably...
I like the grannies.
That's probably ageist, but hey, I don't care.
Prince William standing there with movie stars. King Charles, I think it was last week, surrounded by all of these movie stars. What a missed opportunity. Meghan Markle's doing these D-list podcasts talking about trying to justify her twerking videos. But I digress. I went off on a tangent there. Does it give you any peace of mind that we're still seeing Prince William, who looks like he's in good spirits, and Catherine's mother, who looks like she's in good spirits?
Yes, because obviously one of the possible concerns might have been that there was a crisis, and it quite clearly wasn't a crisis as such. And I think that the nicest thing that we can hope for is that we will see Catherine out and about again in a few days' time, and then we'll know that she's all right, and then it'll all pass by, and everybody will be happy.
Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. That does bring me a lot of peace to hear you say that. So I went here prematurely, but now we're officially going to go here. Hugo, I know you listened to the podcast. Let me ask Robert Jobson, did you have a chance to listen to Meghan Markle's latest podcast interview where she's the guest, which I think is the position she prefers to be in? And if so, how many times did you almost lose your lunch?
Yeah, I listened to what she said, and it's her perfect position. She's talking about herself. That's what she likes to do. I thought the whole twerking thing was so excruciating to keep banging on about it. It was just terrible. I don't really fully understand it. Even now, I thought it was a hoax when I first saw it. What on earth was she doing? I mean, you're if that's a major moment in your life. You're about to have a child, and you're behaving like you're about 3. I just thought the whole thing was just... But then to put it out there when you've been going on about privacy so much, and then to bang on about it so much afterwards, which, it wasn't a great highlight in your life. It really was a bit of a low point. I know lots of people had lots of clicks, probably because they probably thought, what on earth is this?
Yes, we all thought it was fake. We had to go directly to the source to confirm that it was true.
Appreciating, but then to bang on about it as if it was such a great achievement. Look at what she could have been achieving, and in terms of actually making a difference in the world, she could have been working very hard for the Commonwealth with her husband, who I think was a very good. I hate the term working role. I mean, but he was very good out there as a public figure and interacting with the young people. He was fun, and he was well liked. He was extremely popular in terms of being a member of the royal family and contributing to the royal family actually. And then it all went wrong for these sort of pathetic sort of moments of self publicity that are cheap. And don't actually mean anything. I mean, you know, if they were both still working for the family or the firm and working out there in the Commonwealth, they could have been making a big difference to kids with, you know, literacy problems in Africa or in girls that need help in the Far East. They could have been making such a good difference in terms of the way we discuss diversity. No, she's talking about herself and doing a pathetic, childish twerk thing that really doesn't mean anything, doesn't contribute one iota to the world, really.
You're only as great as your last win. And their last win commercially together was the Harry and Meghan docuseries, which was years ago. Don't you, I mean, do you agree with me that you're only as great as your last win? And that was a while ago, too long for Hollywood.
Well, again, you're quite right, Kinsey. I mean, to talk about the sort of success we're discussing in terms of these people who are going to be in Venice with Jeff Bezos. I mean, the level of success they have is achieved by succeeding, starring in a smash hit movie, producing a smash hit movie, and then going on straight afterwards to star in another smash hit movie. You have to keep on keeping on in Hollywood. You can't just make one hit movie and say, hey, I'll be back in 5 years. No, no, no. You have to prove that you can succeed, that you always succeed. Now, as you quite rightly say, Harry and Meghan, when they were selling their souls, with that awful Oprah Winfrey, the awful series, that horrible series on Netflix, and of course Harry's disgusting little book Spare. Now those were successful, but what followed them? Nothing, because they've got nothing else to give. In other words, they coughed everything they had to cough, and they've got nothing left. So again, they cannot claim to be successful because the minor successes they had at the beginning of their California journey were never followed up because they got nothing left to give. So I'm afraid that unless they can come up with something that makes them the talk of the town all over the world, they're kind of finished. You know what Hollywood's like, Kinsey, you live there. You know, you can be out in the cold for donkey's years, but if you suddenly produce something that everyone's talking about, everyone wants to know you. And nobody wants to know those two because they haven't produced anything since the Netflix series and or Spare. Nothing whatsoever. So, as I say, they've got the most toxic problem you can possibly have in Tinseltown, and that is the aura, the aroma of failure.
One place where my BS meter really went off was when she's talking about how her children are privileged and the way she teaches her children about, you know, the value of money is that they garden together, they plant the seed, they watch it grow. And then she kind of claims that they erect a booth at the farmer's market so that and that is just something we would read about in the National Enquirer or Star Magazine. You know what I mean? I have a really hard time believing that that's the truth. Do you have any, or did you see anything specifically when she's telling the story about how she's teaching her children the value of money through gardening and through this produce?
That's just the story she's telling to make herself look good.
Yeah.
I don't think she's ever put up a booth there because they take pictures of everything. They take pictures when it looks important to them. When she looks goofy dancing around the hospital room, one of the most personal and intimate times of your life, having a baby. A lot of people will show you videos and pictures from that, but nothing like that.
Oh my gosh, that is such a great point. It's not just the National Enquirer that would tell us, it's Meghan Markle. We would have seen the booth. Also, I mean, I imagine that when you go set up at the farmer's market, you've got to call ahead. You have to, there are some procedures that you have to follow. And but that is absolutely hilarious. Meghan is her own paparazzi. You are right. She would have had those pictures all over Instagram by now. Like she took the pictures of the giant bag full of produce that everyone said, there's no way that's from your garden. Corn isn't growing right now.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's what she would do. She wants you to see her doing these wonderful things for her children and other people, so you'll think she's a good person and she's nice and she's wonderful. That's the root of that clinical narcissist.
That's so weird. Meghan says she's proudest of investing in herself. She says, it's been so many years since we came over here, talking about California. I do think it takes a little bit of courage to bet on yourself, and that's felt really good. I mean, it's not that hard to bet on yourself when you have a royal safety net. She knows that people line up to work with her, whether she has a history of failing or not, because of her proximity to the British royal family. Does she think that other female entrepreneurs are buying this?
She's hoping they will. When it comes to entrepreneurs, I was the entrepreneur in residence at the Nashville Entrepreneur Center from 2011 to 2017, and all I did was work with the new startups there and CEOs and taught them how to pitch and showed them what pitches were made out of. Worked on their body language to make sure they were believed. If they were a good person, I'd make sure that was first, but make sure they could be trusted and they could get along with anybody within the first couple of minutes they met them. And women will come to see her and listen to her because they think she's successful. No matter what's happened, she does look successman, even though we know.
I mean, yeah, I'd love to secure a prince, Scott. I'd love to secure a prince. Yeah,
that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? So I wish one of my buddies was, so I could, that'd be great. But so that's what they're looking to her for leadership. If they're going to her, they're going to her for that leadership, and that's the position she's trying to put herself in, is a position of leadership. So, because if you listen to what she's talking about things that I'm not so sure she's familiar with. That's why I suggested you talk to Michael Bertram.
Yeah, I will.
Oh man, because he'll be able to set you straight on all that.
You are my priority, okay?
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, when she says things like skew or Q4, you can tell that she is trying to utilize specific language to convince other people that she's in this world that I don't really think she, like you said, I think it's all an act, because the reality is everything's been so messy. All of these launches have been so messy that who in their right mind would consider it a reasonable strategy?
Well, she's the CEO, so she's supposed to understand everything in that company, from finances to distribution, to how much it costs to get that product made. Where is it? How many do we have? She should be on top of all of that. And what she's talking about, and I think Michael will say this if you end up talking to him, you'll see she's just brushing over those. She's parroting what she's heard other people say. And they say, be sure you cover this, and this, because she has those little talking points. But I would venture to say she can't go very deep on any of them, because I don't think she's the one in charge. I think she's the one that sends her, goes, oh, it's me, and this is my company, and I'm the CEO. And you go, yeah, right. And you have everybody else doing the work. And they understand that. The people under her will understand that. She's just the forward-facing branding for the company.
Here is Meghan talking about the success of her business.
Is anything actually a failure, ultimately? Because you're going to learn from it no matter what happens. But no, I feel confident in what I've been dreaming up for so long. I feel confident in the partner that I have. And I feel really proud of the team that I have. So that's not an option.
Failure is not an option. I think success is not an option. You can't make a business out of selling Scam Jam for $14 a jar and cookie mix, which I made up, didn't I? I made the cookies. Yeah.
What was it like? Did it make you happy?
They were average. They didn't make us, well...
Didn't make you happy? You're happy?
No, they didn't. So, I mean... Well, this isn't a business, is it?
No, well, she can't. She's not a businesswoman, is she?
Yeah,
she's an actress. She's playing at a business. I remember we had a boss who was not even a boss. He was an actor. He was a child actor, and I once opened his desk, and there was nothing in it. It was literally a film set. So she's acting at being a business person.
That's a brilliant point, Vyas.
Yeah, it is.
Everything. You're right. Yes. Everything she does is like an act. Here's me being a businesswoman. Here's me being a podcast host.
Yes.
Here's me presenting a program about making jam and honey and stuff. And she doesn't do any of it at all well. But as far as she's concerned, it's probably just a performance.
Totally. I mean, you can see that it's such a sanitized PR version of answers that she's given to Emma. And even in that failure section, Emma actually said, oh, come on, Meghan, my first business was a massive failure. You know, I didn't invest that properly and I didn't do this properly. And Meghan just goes, oh, nothing is a failure. It's like she used the word authentic 25 times in that interview, Meghan did, but there was nothing authentic about it.
Yeah, and you know why she says nothing is a failure? You know, because nothing is a failure, because then you learn from the experience. That's because everything in her life is turning into a failure. Everything is failing. So she's quantifying that by saying, well, even though it's essentially, she's saying, even though I've desperately failed, it's a success because I've learned from the experience. No, Meghan, you've just failed.
So I want to ask you about this. I thought this was very funny. Meghan Markle gets fact-checked by Elon Musk's community notes on X under a post from the Daily Mail that reads, Meghan reveals Archie 6 and Lily 4 sell their homegrown fruit and veg at the local farmers market in Montecito. X community notes clarifies you need certification and approval in order to sell produce and other items privately. And it claims their family is not listed with a link to cdfa.ca.gov. Okay, Kev, a lot of people were suspicious about that comment. I don't believe personally that the children are perched up in a booth at the farmer's market ever. Can I ask you why you think Meghan Markle might lie about this stuff?
Well, here's the deal. When I read that, it jumped out at me. I thought, you mean Lilibet and Archie have got a stall at the local, farmer's market selling lemonade or whatever the hell? She says that she wanted them to do this so that they could learn the value of money, learn the value of work and earning money. Ironically, from a woman who doesn't really do very much and doesn't earn any money. So when I read that, I thought, I really find that hard to believe. And sure enough, it is now confirmed that there's no record of these two kids doing that. Why would she lie about it? Because, again, it makes her seem like a super mom. You know, I'm worried about my kids. They got to understand money, and I've got a little lemonade store at the farmer's market and all this stuff. I mean, once again, it's just the depiction of her with a wonderful family and the lovely little kids selling lemonade at the farmer's market. Aren't they great? Learning about money, also the value of work. But it's another one of her lies, her image-making lies. She doesn't really deal in the truth, as we know. She deals in her truth. And someone's got to sit her down and say, Meghan, there is no such thing as your truth. There is only the truth. You cannot make it up. And if you do make it up in your position, you're going to get found out, just like she did with this little fib about the kids in the farmer's market at Montecito. Ridiculous. But here is Meghan explaining why, at least temporarily, sadly, brace yourselves, folks, there won't be any more confessions of a female founder.
This was a decision to say, okay, I'm going to stop this now because you were having like huge success. I mean, I was hearing about that podcast everywhere and you've decided I'm going to stop and focus on the business.
Have to.
Nice.
But equally, yes, I wrapped season 1 of my Netflix series. So it's still ongoing while also doing a podcast, while also building my business. And at a certain point, the only thing I want spread thin is my jam.
And your jam is very thin, I can testify to that. It's like a liquid, isn't it? It sort of moves around in the jar. I mean, she lives in an alternative universe. The planet Meghan is different to the planet the rest of us
She
live
wills
on.
everything, doesn't she? It will happen if I will it, and it's not working for her.
Yeah, and it's talking about all the stuff she's doing. I was doing this, I was doing this. Everything she mentioned then, that she was so busy with, has been a complete flop, a complete dud.
I know. We predicted it here on this show.
She venerates business or busyness for busyness' sake.
Yes.
It's no good just being busy. You've got to be successful. She's busy but she fails.
I mean, it's a massive overcompensation. You know those people who go, oh, I'm doing this and this and this. I'm just absolutely rammed with work at the moment. Oh my gosh, those are always the people that are not actually
so
that
right.
busy.
But
when they have to really go, no, I'm doing things, but I can't fit everything in.
A podcast only takes as long as it takes to record it and getting down the off license or liquor store if you want.
She's talking utter claptrap. Yeah, you're so right. People are going, what are you up to then? Busy.
Yeah.
Anytime somebody goes busy, it means they're not. They've got nothing to do. She is busy failing.